Hello, friends, and welcome to the Optimized Advisor Podcast, where we focus on optimizing the well-being and best practices of insurance and financial professionals today. On this show, our objective is to help you optimize your life, optimize your profession, and learn from other optimized advisors. I'm your host, Scott Heinela. We hope you enjoy the show. Jason Labrum.
Hi,
Good
Scott.
to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, bud.
Thank you for coming in today on this beautiful Southern California day.
Who drives anymore? I drove up here.
I did.
I did. You flew, I drove.
I flew, that's right. And I appreciate you driving up here.
Yeah.
These are better in person. There is no question. We talked a little bit about that before.
Well, I get to see Danielle. I get to see the team. This is good.
We get a hug.
Hug.
Yeah, that's right.
Hugs, not drugs.
Personal connection is a real thing.
It is.
Sidebar question.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
I'm going to ask this question, and then we're going to come back for just a short second.
Okay.
First question. In your practice today,
Yeah.
how often are you seeing your clients in person?
Do you count a Zoom in person?
I do not. That would be virtual. Physical
It feels like it's
in-person
in-person.
meetings, very, very little.
It is changed, totally changed
Totally changed.
since COVID.
So I was chatting with an advisor the other day who said that his last in-person meeting was in April of 2020.
That dude needs to get back to work. Sorry.
No. In-person meeting.
I realized I had an in-person meeting this morning. I mean, it's less, but
Okay.
people still want to get together.
But
if you say the last person you met in person was in April of 2020,
Yes.
you can't be that busy.
He is so busy.
Well, he's
I'm
smarter
serious.
than I am then. He's figured out how to do it more efficiently.
Well, he does have a referral source, in fairness, that is so inundated, separate conversation altogether with clients and being introduced to people. And he is the advisor as part of that relationship. So he's running 15 to 25 meetings, new client meetings per week, all virtual. But that's an exception to the rule. What would you say percentage-wise you see virtual to in-person today?
80 virtual, 20 in person.
Okay. That's a huge shift.
Yeah, it used to be probably 60 in person. No, 70 in person, 30 virtual. It's a flip-flop. 80,
Okay.
call it a flip. And it's wonderful because clients, I think, came to see us as advisors because they felt like they had to.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like they were assigned a task to show up to their review and that they needed to come in. And now we do a lot of financial planning, as you know. So we're reviewing the plan on the screen in front of them with the little pictures of our heads right there. We're talking. They're at their couch. They're at their table. It works great. It doesn't totally replace it, like you said, being here, seeing you face to face, eye to eye. That's real.
Right.
But for the benefits that you pick up by not being on the road, I mean, think about car crashes, the risk of that, the price of gas, driving, traffic, the formalities. I mean, I've been here for 35, 40 minutes, right? And we just started recording the show. Like if we had done a Zoom, we would have jumped on and started 2.5 minutes,
100%.
into
That's
the
very true.
formality. So you literally save so much time, money, effort, and energy. So it works.
That's a
almost
great
as
point.
good.
When we connect that virtual, it's how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? Good.
Yeah.
What are we set to accomplish today?
Yeah.
And it's very friendly and amicable, obviously, but it's down to business. Green light, go.
And even if you say hi, there's not, I saw the other guy who's in your office. We say hi to, I talked to Nick, and there's no, this is a technical term. There's no rabble rousing going on. I like rabble rousing.
Yeah.
And I might do more of that than maybe most people because but whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. We first introduced you to our listeners, episode 10. You remember this?
Yeah, which I started adjusting
you were
your notes.
correcting me. Which I appreciate.
Yeah, I'm here
keeping
to,
everybody
I
on.
want to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. Right?
Optimized.
Yes.
We want to help everybody to be optimized in life. That's
That's true.
We want that for our friends.
Positive mindset, man.
But let's talk a little bit about Jason Labrum, Intelligence-Driven Advisors, just a little bit about the firm, why you're here, in the sense that you are an advisor. We don't want to release the whole mindset piece yet. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Our firm is, we're an RIA, straight RIA, no broker-dealer affiliation. Unbelievable culture, phenomenal human beings. And we put together investment strategies based on people's complex financial plans, and we make their life organized and full of peace of mind. And we serve about 1,100 clients, $1.4 billion in assets, offices in San Diego, Scottsdale, and Fort Worth. And I go back to the team, man. Our people are so awesome. We have such good human beings. And we're all working hard to become better every day. We're very focused on the pursuit of better personally and professionally. And we're very focused on top-down leadership that is willing to accept the things that we aren't doing right and well, and encouraging others and empowering others, and being leaders who can admit we're wrong and correct and pivot.
Yeah.
And so anyway, our firm's, a traditional firm, but probably more financial planning focused than most firms. I mean, when I spend time with clients, and this is I'm getting into past my 30 seconds, but 85 to 90% of my time with my clients in the review is talking about their goals, purpose, passion, and their plan.
Yeah, really.
5 to 15% is talking about the actual investments.
It's interesting. I think, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That is wisdom, and a lot to be learned and gleaned from that. How long have you been in business? When did you scratch the...
1998, I graduated high school or college, on a Friday, and I started working Monday at Merrill Lynch.
There you go.
Thought I was going backpacking, going to cruise and be, a post-college bum. And then my dad reminded me that he cut me off the day I graduated, which was awesome of him to make me become a man and go do it. He had already paid for room and board, which is a pretty big gift as it was. But and then my boss, who I told him I was going to go backpack, the guy who I was interviewing with when he finally gave me the job at Merrill Lynch, said, if you're not in the office in a better suit, looking better, and don't ask dumb questions anymore by 6:30 on Monday, you're fired before you start. When I asked him about a 2-week vacation before I started, I was lucky to get the job, right? But it was awesome. So I spent a couple years, 18 months in an orientation financial advisor program. And probably the best part of my personal story is that I started production as an advisor, building my own clientele in March of 2000.
It's a wonderful time.
Perfect time.
Yeah.
I mean, to basically have, a 10-year run of just complete beatings was awesome.
Oh.
And then there were some good
not
years
to
in
mention
there.
the first 12, 16, 18 months was really atrocious.
From March of 2000 and March of 2000 to March of 2009, the S&P 500 delivered a negative 9% cumulative return. That's a bad break.
That's a bad break.
Now, if you had a globally diversified portfolio with small caps and international stocks and emerging market and properly diversified portfolio, you made 60%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. Minus 9 versus 60.
Be globally diversified.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially after this last 10-year run. Did we just repeat this great American, U.S. large cap growth cycle that may change for a while?
Right.
Technology. People forget the NASDAQ was negative for 18 years. NASDAQ peaked at 5,000 in March of 2000. It didn't get back to that level till 17 and change. 17 years later.
And now here we are.
Woohoo!
Yeah. It's interesting times.
Yeah.
So mindset.
Yes, sir.
The only thing you can control.
Yep.
Says the sign behind you.
Is that right?
It does. The only word you can control, to say it specifically. So let's go back to the beginning, right? March of 2020.
Yep.
Mindset. You got to be excited. We're vibrant, right? We're just out of our university, our training. We're in Merrill, and we are hit with significant headwinds and challenges. How do we deal with that? It can't be easy to stay positive, to stay on task.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't, but I don't know if there's some things to mindset you can teach. Like I'm resilient and persistent and will die fighting to get what I want to get or to accomplish what I want to
And naturally speaking, you are glass half full
completely,
always.
Totally.
Yeah.
Overly optimistic. Don't drink coffee. A little too much energy for most people most of the time.
You really don't drink coffee? Do I know that?
No, I mean, not on purpose. I just don't
Oh, okay.
really. I mean,
Yeah,
every
okay.
once in a while, my wife gets me like a cafe mocha or something but it's like
Right.
sugar. It's just it's not a coffee.
No.
It's like
It's
a
a sweet.
whipped
It's
cream
a
on
sweet.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I add a little coffee cake and it's great. But no, I don't really drink coffee. A little bit
Okay.
of green tea. But
Yeah.
so I have a lot of energy and I have the glass is always half full.
Right.
I like problems and challenges because there's just another victory in the waiting.
Right.
It's just another win. It's another thing I'm going to get past. So that was what I had my head down. Quitting was not an option.
Right.
I think there was something like, and these numbers are not exact. There was more than 400 people in my class at Merrill Lynch across the country when we started in March of 2000. We went back to these cool trainings in Princeton and did all this stuff.
Yeah.
At the end, when I left Merrill Lynch in 2003, there was like a handful of us left.
Right.
So people really quit. Their mindset wasn't right,
Yeah.
whatever it was, or it was harder than they thought, or different, or it wasn't what they expected.
Well, and you got to imagine, right? At that point in time, you were dealing with this. Maybe you speak about it a little bit, but the proverbial doors being just closed in your face, right?
Yeah.
The market's crashing.
Yeah.
We're coming through this terrible, terrible environment, very sour at best.
Yeah.
And how do you continue to keep your head on straight? Tell yourself, every no is closer to the next yes. We've heard all these things, but really gaining some control and some composure around the proper mindset and weathering through that. It's not an easy task.
It's not, and especially when you don't have experience. I didn't have the experience then, and I did in 2008 to see what happens. But although it was difficult when you brought on a client, that the experience for that client maybe from an investment standpoint wasn't perfect, right? Because
Right.
you start at the top and you have to weather the storm right away. They don't get a chance to see how it works. That's also the very best time for advisors to go get new business. I mean, by large margins. So
Right.
during that time, I grew my business exponentially. And then during 2008 was my other biggest year of growth since, or in the
Right.
long
the
time
big
that I've been doing.
surges.
were when the market's down because people realize, the markets don't just go straight up. I need to understand asset allocation. I should probably have some type of philosophy here. I should probably have a plan that backs up why I'm doing what I'm doing because it keeps changing. And then I keep changing and I'm chasing my tail, making
Right.
behavioral blunders.
Right.
So it's a phenomenal time to go get assets. And if you do it right from the beginning, like we teach all of our clients based upon their financial plan, what portfolio they're going to be in, we teach them in advance. Here is the volatility you should expect. It's not a matter of if, it's when. You
Right.
are going to be here.
Right.
And I think advisors are really scared to do that. I think this is something I learned later. I didn't know this at the beginning.
Right.
We were buying Munder Net Fund that was up 210% the year before. And you're like, well, how's it not going to at least do 100 next year, right? And TCW up 160%, all tech. But I think it was learned that if you set proper expectations for clients,
Yeah.
you win because you're guiding them with wisdom and knowledge about what's really going to happen, and you're not trying to hide behind that.
Yeah.
Advisors want to hide behind like we have some secret sauce. We understand the markets. We're all right. We know how to allocate portfolios. We know how to find alternative investments that help. But
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
the client's expectation set is really important.
And from a diplomatic standpoint, right? Diplomacy is very, not paramount, but very important of how to eloquently explain things, but at the same time being brutally honest of this is what the journey looks like. This is what we need to weather together.
Yeah.
Everything isn't just roses and dramatic returns in the positive fashion.
Yeah.
And we're here together to work with you side by side in this journey.
Right. So we're talking about mindset, and you have to help the clients get the right mindset. And too many people believe, and in my book, Financial Detox, and our podcast and radio show, Financial Detox, we talk so much about the behavioral blunders people make.
Mm-hmm.
And they make those because they don't have the right mindset,
Right.
right? They don't have the right expectations. They don't have the right knowledge, whatever, going into it. And so then they respond emotionally instead of from a strategic planning standpoint. And they make real mistakes. I mean, the average return for investors in equities and equity mutual funds is dismal. It's terrible.
Right.
And this is broad sweeping. This is it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And the point is you don't have to guess it. You don't have to outwit it. You don't have to outsmart it in order to have a phenomenal outcome.
Right.
You just have to have the right mindset and you have to build the right plan.
And discipline.
Discipline's huge. Yeah.
Huge.
Part of that.
In I don't know where discipline isn't an asset
Right.
in any aspect of life.
Right.
But all too often, when push comes to shove, when you start to apply a little pressure, a little bit of stress, we quickly deviate off of that discipline.
People, Jim Papilla at our office says it really well. People are unbelievably courageous in a bull market.
Right.
They become extremely cowardice in a bear market.
Yeah.
And not insulting people or our clients. I mean, we all do, right? It's human nature. You want to be part of something that's winning, something that's good and going up, and you want more of that.
Right.
And whatever's hurting you and not doing well and making you look bad, you don't want that. You want to get rid of it.
Right. Quickly.
And it's the
Dump it.
total
It's terrible.
opposite of what you should do when it comes to investing in your portfolio.
And so to that end, what is, from an investor's standpoint, what's the mindset that we really need to be? And part of it, I think, too, is I think, surrounding ourselves with people that we can trust and can confide in, that really help us keep center.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in a vacuum and I'm doing all this, that's where a lot of people just go awry.
Yeah, for sure. Sitting in a silo is a bad thing. But look how most financial firms are shaped, right? Most of your listeners are advisors, right?
Yes.
Okay, so focusing towards the advisor, right?
Right.
Look at how the advisory world is shaped. It's really broken. And I'm not picking on any firm and I'm not saying anything bad about any of these firms, but I'll use some names just to make it relevant. If I go to a Merrill Lynch office down the street or a UBS or an Edward Jones, or I go to Ameriprise Advisors and there's 14 advisors in there and I have 14 independent separate meetings with those advisors, I'm going to get 14 different sets of advice.
Absolutely.
How's that right? Is there 14 paths that all work best for me?
Right.
Or was one of those advisors right, or a couple of them kind of right? If you blend a couple, who's right, who's wrong?
Right.
I think that's broken.
And then it becomes very skeptical, confusing, alarming for a consumer.
Well, and a consumer should go through that experience just to figure out, holy cow, this is what my book talks about, Financial Detox. Like, all these guys are saying different things, guys and gals. This is a problem. Because there can't be 14 right ways to do things out of one firm. If I go to the other firm, I'm going to get kind of 14 different versions of it.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think it's really important that advisors don't operate in silos, because to have the right mindset and to have the right, I think, backdrop and just support, like our firm, no decisions are made by any individual advisor, including me as the founder and CEO. I don't make any individual decisions without it going through the investment committee, being vetted, and saying, if this is good for this client, why isn't it good for all of our clients that are similar to that client? It should be part of our strategies.
Right.
So we have all these strategies across the board, from absolutely capital preservation clients to aggressive growth clients. And they're not very dissimilar to each other once a client is identified as that type of client, given their goals and objectives and their financial plan. And how do we take the least amount of risk possible, or volatility is a better word. How do we have the least amount of volatility while still achieving our goals and our purpose? And all of a sudden now our journey is really full of financial peace of mind.
Right.
But the silo thing scares me for any advisor. It was terrible for me when I was at two big Wall Street firms for 12 years. I mean, I'm doing my thing based upon all this different products and who I'm deciding what to do for the client, totally in a vacuum, in a silo.
Right, totally in a vacuum. So much noise and information coming at you, all soliciting you for, this is the best path, right?
Got a wholesaler trying to take me to play golf and give me golf balls to sell his product. I got the firm manager pushing something. Why is he pushing that? And then I got my buddy across the hall who says he's buying this and that's great. And then I read something on, an article that told me to. So that's not
easy.
So if it's that tough for us as advisors, man, how tough is it for the client, the end client?
Right. Yeah. So what did you do at that time? Did you confide? What was your process at that point to say, okay, we got to make this. I've got to work through this and create a process or a workflow or a network, if you will.
I left. Started my own firm.
All right. This is not the right environment. I'm out of here.
Right.
Which is a very tough place to be and
Brutal.
Get to that point of saying,
yeah,
whoa, wait a minute here.
I just don't like it. I couldn't control the destiny for my clients the way I wanted to, or my own for that matter.
I imagine a very, very hard decision at that point in your life, or no? Or you came to the realization?
I was always, I always knew, probably from
Okay.
day one, that was a stepping stone.
Okay.
But I didn't know how much I would love owning my own business and then helping people become owners of the business.
Right.
We have our executive management team and advisors have opportunities to become owners of our business
Right.
so that their mindset's right. So
Yeah.
they think about it like
Absolutely.
an owner, which a lot of people don't. Like you and I are owner mentality, very owner mentality. And a lot of people just aren't. And
Right.
that's okay. It's not bad. So how do we then incentivize them with the benefits that come from that, but not burden them with the stresses that go along with it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't want that. Advisors don't want it. We set it up in a way that they can participate and, get involved if they want, and it's pretty cool. But it was always in my plan, I think, to do it the way I want. I'm a bit of a control freak and like to do things a certain way, and probably slightly ADD, OCD, and every other term you can come up with. But in the end, we come up with some pretty good stuff because we think through it a lot and we work hard at it.
Right. So let's look at clients today.
Okay.
Now, I know we do a very good job of coaching, preparing our clients as they enter into their journey with us at IDA.
Yep.
So I'm gonna let's preface all that
Okay.
first. But let's say I've got the client who forgot all that,
Which
and
they
they're
do.
dealing with all of these pieces of information, noise, sources coming from them at all angles, and they're highly concerned today. They've got Ukraine, interest rates, inflation, spending. Like we can go on and on.
Yes.
How are we helping our client come back to center of, whoa, let's unpack all this a little bit. Let's get to equilibrium.
Financial planning.
Okay.
Interactive, dynamic, living, breathing financial plan that has every part of their financial life in that. Their expected rates of return, capital market expectations going forward, stress testing, Monte Carlo, cash flows, retirement, kids, vacation homes, life, everything on a cash flow basis, not a week goal planner. And you pull up the plan and you're like, there's a lot going on, but this isn't new. It's not different. There's always been a lot going on.
Right.
And if you look back to the average volatility in a given year, it's 15% a year on average from peak to trough.
Right.
Just average. So no, this is not new and this is not different. Yeah, it's a little hairier this time, has a different flavor to it. Maybe it's going to last a little longer this time than the last 10 years. We haven't had real volatility that's stuck around. But your plan's on track. We already planned for this.
Yeah.
We knew this was coming. See, we built it into your plan back when we stress tested it when you first became a client 5 years ago, and it's been awesome. We made so much money.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, right? Okay, well, now it's time to let's just make sure we're still on track, which we've been doing every year since. So it's never I can't say clients don't get concerned because they do, but that's how we re-anchor them very quickly to everything that was built on. The foundation is so solid that the wind's blowing really hard, right? The storm's
Right.
there, the waves are crashing against the building. It doesn't crack.
But the house is sound.
We're inside, and we remind them
Yeah.
we're inside the safe place we built.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
awesome.
great. And I think part of you mentioned, family and things of that nature, that it's not just about the financial aspect, the investment side of this. It's also about the other aspects of your wealth.
It's almost mostly about the other aspects.
Right.
It's not the wealth.
And that's a huge, huge point of this. Is
Like, what is your purpose, Mr. and Mrs. Klein? Why are we here?
why are
What are we
here?
doing? You saved all this money. What for?
So,
It's
so
crazy
you can
when
pack it all in a coffin?
Yeah, we packing it. What are we doing? Are we
Right.
are we protecting against Armageddon? I had a client the other day say, "Yeah, I just really feel like coins. Coins, small coins. My friends telling me, and this is really dangerous, right? When people start getting advice from friends,
Right.
or from unqualified people to give them advice who haven't spent 25 years working through this." I should have small coins and I should have silver because they're less per coin and per weight, and then I can go buy stuff in Armageddon. And I said,
And they come to you committed with this
pretty
request.
Yeah. much thinking about it.
Yeah.
And this is a $10.5 million client. This is no joke, right? They have real money, sophisticated, smart lady.
Correct.
This is what her friends are doing, and they're drinking a glass of wine and talking about what they're doing. And her friend's husband said, "This is what we have to do."
Oh,
And I said, so let's paint the picture, right? Let's purpose. We're here. So this would protect you, presumably. You'd be able to go to the grocery store. I said, but in a situation that's that bad, that you need coins to buy things, silver, by the way, not real money,
Right.
do you think the grocery store is going to be open? I mean, is the grocery store, they got bread on the shelves?
Right.
The markets are so bad that you needed coins to pay for things because your stocks and the portfolio is gone. Do you think the grocery store is open and there's just people in there checking people out and life's good?
Receiving coins in exchange
taking
for goods.
silver now all of
Yeah.
a sudden and doing some, that's not how it's going to work, right? Even if you're trying to protect. So like, let's really think about the purpose of your money and the purpose of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And then I, of course, always throw in the argument that if you really want to protect yourself in a time of Armageddon, it's probably guns and ammo would be the best thing you could buy.
Right.
Because your coins aren't going to do very well when your neighbor has an AR-15 and 300 rounds.
We've had that conversation.
You're going to give him your coins.
Right. Exactly.
So,
when they enter the door with a bulletproof vest on.
yes,
And
you're going to give them the
they're
coins.
fully
So your
armed.
coins aren't going to do so much. So, but and then in the end, the point is that really going to happen? Like really, 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 all publicly traded companies are going to cease to exist. So you just have to get back down to purpose.
So how did that conversation terminate?
Great. I mean, we have alternative
General.
investments in the portfolio, and she's doing very well, and her plan is completely on track. She can't spend all of her money, and she really cares about spending time with her grandkids, and that's what she wants to do. And she really wants to go on the Viking cruise that they've talked about for years. And I'm like, we're going to book it now. And, we started booking it.
Yeah.
And I said, go home and finish this. Book it. Buy the nicest one. 'Cause you can
Interesting.
afford it. Go on the cruise because that's what you're really concerned about. Is my life going to,
That's what she really cares about. Experiences, grandkids.
She knew she wasn't going to run out of money now. Okay, all right. I know the world's not going to end. Okay, all right. What are you doing then? So I drew a little Venn diagram, which you've seen this a lot before.
Yes. Well, let's go over that.
All right. So
Share this.
what you can control and what matters. And who did this? There's a guy in our business who did this. He's great. He drew this up. But anyway, what matters, what you can control,
What's this here?
focus
Yeah.
here,
Focus here.
where they overlap.
Yep. The Venn
So-
diagram.
Yeah, so we got to help our
Overlap.
clients go, okay, does it matter that there's volatility and it's scary out there? Yeah, it matters.
Mm-hmm.
What can control? Oh, well, you have a great asset allocation. You're diversified. You own stocks. You own bonds. You own large stocks, mid stocks, small caps. Oh, you have
Everything.
alternatives. You have the whole portfolio. Right. Oh, you have some cash aside for emergency. Oh, we did give you some gold and silver, more nostalgic than purpose driven.
Right.
But you have that. Your financial plan is on track. That matters. Even in volatility, even in forecasted future volatility. Okay, what are we doing? What's the point? The point is the Viking cruise and your grandkid.
Right.
Let's go. Book the trip.
Yeah.
Now they all of a sudden have peace of mind because you're taking their ball off it. The problem is the world is going against us, right?
Jason eased my mind.
Well,
we
they-
can go on the trip.
they can.
Life will continue.
And they should.
And absolutely.
But the world is going against them. Every bit of media. Oh, we did a podcast, my last podcast, Alex and I, Varney and company, and
Oh, yeah.
and I kind of like listening to Varney every once in a while.
Right.
But I'm listening to him just to tune in a week ago when the markets were crazy down
Yeah.
1,000 points. And the guy's destroying people. And Varney, I'm calling you out again now on this podcast. But he's literally telling
like
people
Varney.
He's terrible. He's terrible from a standpoint of giving advice to clients, and he has a responsibility to do better for human beings who are watching his show.
Right.
He's a professional. He's been in the space. He's sophisticated, but he's on there telling people, "I'm in cash, and hey Scott, my next guest up. I'm in cash. Do you think that's the right place to be, Scott?
Right.
Should I stay in cash and wait for the right time to get back in?"
Yeah.
Varney, you're totally screwing over the public,
Right.
because you're getting people to move into cash.
Time the market.
And time the market, which is
Yeah.
absolutely wrong. And I call bull crap because, Varney, you are not in all cash.
Right.
And when did you go to cash? If you did, I bet it was 5 years ago, and you've been missing out on all these returns, and now you're finally floating your boat that you got it right because every broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. So this is what our clients are facing, is this horrible advice from the media and people who have no accountability to what they say. Varney, I want to go on his show. I said, let's debate it out.
Right.
You are
Well,
doing.
we all know he owns Microsoft. He hasn't gotten rid of that in a very long time. And I
he's
guarantee
doing
you
a
hasn't.
terrible job for people,
Right.
and so he makes our job
What
harder.
you're doing is magnifying their fears and now you're a media person, right?
Right. You have a
And you're exploring
responsibility.
that. Yeah, you're right.
And he's not only magnifying their fears, but then he's giving them an impractical and disillusioned solution to their fears, which exacerbates their fears, strips them of financial peace of mind, causes behavioral blunders, rapes them of future returns from their portfolio, and stealing wealth out of their families, a multi-generational wealth plan in their family's assets, because he's got his ego wrapped up to him telling everybody on his show he's tied up in all cash right now because the market happened to be down.
Well, I need ratings.
It's total crap. So my
Not healthy for people's mindset.
you can tell I'm kind of angry about
Fired
that one.
up, yeah.
Yeah, but our job as advisors is to fight that. And if we become like Varney, or we become pretentious to our clients, or saving face like we're doing something so good, we saw this coming and we started. No, you didn't. You didn't know when. You didn't know how it was going to come. Be real. Quit lying to people and give them good advice. Good advice is to not make behavioral. Look at John Bogle. Look at any of the best investors in all of time. They all say the same thing.
Right.
It's clowns that tell you to get out of the market, and I'm sitting in cash, and I timed this, and I got this one thing right. And they're clowns that are telling you about the one red-nosed happy experience they had, and the rest is all hidden bull crap.
Well, I call that napkin talk.
Yeah.
Everybody's always good and happy when they can prepare something over a napkin at a cocktail party.
Sure.
Look what I got, pump up my chest. But
Yeah.
that's not real life.
No, and humans do that. I do that too.
Humans do that.
I know. I tell stories and do things that is total face saving. It's so interesting. We're reading a book right now at our firm on how to win friends and influence people. Carnegie.
Yeah, great book.
And it's just awesome to realign yourself with truth and how to treat people, and how there's so much inside of us that is so self-serving and face-saving and egotistical. And it's not bad. It's just who we are as people. We're flawed.
Right.
We're flawed. People aren't good. People are flawed, and we got to work to be good.
Yeah. And need to be reminded, because otherwise we over time we just kind of drift off a little bit, and we start just a tiny bit off track. And then after time, if we don't recalibrate, we find ourselves in no man's land. That's a scary place to be.
It is, and it all ties back to your mind, right?
Yeah,
it
really does.
A mindset of being willing to admit you're wrong, almost being looking for an opportunity to find out where I've been wrong and I want to right the ship.
Yeah.
Because that's a true moment, right? Where you recognize, geez, I was headed down this path. I was thinking this. Yeah. This is wrong. Yeah. Adam Grant does it well in his book, and I totally disagree with him probably on most political fronts, but Think Again. Great book to just maybe there's celebration when I find out I'm wrong, because that's the true learning.
Yeah.
You don't
think
learn
about the power in that mindset?
Huge.
Of allowing yourself to be vulnerable to accepting incorrections.
True humility.
Absolutely.
And when you're leading a firm or advisors, or you're leading people, there's nothing better you can do than be humble and truly kind and coachable and teachable yourself, even though you're at the top of the chain.
Yeah.
That's a mindset. And that's a mindset of constant improvement and pursuing better.
Yeah. And accepting the fact that I don't need to be, the all-knowing, all-powerful, egotistical leader of this organization. No. I'm surrounded by people who empower this team together.
Yep.
And together we are better, and I don't know everything. And that is probably the most powerful mindset to be.
I think it truly is. If you take Adam Grant, Think Again, you take, Win and Influence Friends, you take Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, all of these great leaders, people who are truly admirable. Mm-hmm. Number one, they're almost always centered in something bigger than themselves. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You can catch my drift on that. But the other thing is they have this humble pursuit of better mindset that I can get better. I'm going to get better. Failure is not an option, and I'll recorrect, and I'm just going to keep working hard and realize I'm wrong when I'm wrong, and celebrate the times that I happen to be right, which is probably a lot less than the times we're actually wrong.
Do you think the best are that all of that comes natural to them? There's natural skill sets they have, I understand, but that's something that they learn over time?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think personally, myself, I am totally self-centered, want to be right all the time, like to have I have that, and I think I'm getting slowly better at realizing that's not it. That's not the path.
Right.
So I can only really relate to my own true experience, but I have a feeling that great leaders and great people and people with great mindset develop that through intention. You're not just born that way.
Right.
You really intention. You got to watch Ted Lasso too. That helps.
Oh, love that.
He's the greatest guy ever.
Yeah, he really is.
I'm not done with the whole thing. I've only watched like one season or part of the second season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No.
But the guys, I mean, like I want to be like
genius.
Ted Lasso.
Yes.
I want to just
So
love people and be
unassuming.
positive and just, you can rip me a new one and I'll say, that's actually probably pretty good advice.
Yeah.
I love the best is when
Thank you. Thank you for what you've just done for me.
You know what I'm realizing is how well you're honestly telling me how bad I am. I love when he's in the bar and he's like, you guys have been really exceptional at telling your true feelings about how you feel about me. That's good work,
That's
guys.
good work.
I'm like,
So true.
It's so good.
Genius.
It's genius. It is genius. And it ties into all those things. So it's an effort, man. It's a conscious effort and an intention.
It really is.
And
Being
man,
aware
yeah.
and having that tone. Tone is so powerful with mindset and helping people with their mindset. And those are not easy. Those things I really struggle with just tone.
Yes.
Because tone is a powerful, powerful thing as well.
I tell my wife.
And tone affects mindset.
Oh,
no
for sure.
question. Both
Oh, yeah.
inward and outward.
Yes. If my wife and I ever argue, we don't very often. We do sometimes. She's great, but I'll say, honey, it's not. She's
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
I said it's not so much of what you said; it's kind of how you said
Said it right.
And I'm hypersensitive to bad attitudes, right? She doesn't have a bad attitude, but if she says something kind of sharp to me, little chippy,
yeah.
Oh boy, I'm like,
Oh,
what?
I pick up on
what does that mean? And I get
sensitive, and then yeah.
I'm like,
But that's a perfect example of like the people who are closest to us, right? You just know each other through and through, and I would say it exposes our vulnerabilities as
truth.
people.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Tone matters though. Tone matters.
Really
how you
matters.
say stuff, and that's what we can do
Especially
as
with my
advisors.
children, I talk about this all the time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh man, I wish I
don't-
and I've been working on it a lot lately. But that helps them with around mindset, right? Like I really recognize when my tone is poor to them, it can turn their mindset on a dime. Either way, if flipping it on the other side.
Totally.
If my tone is very positive, using similar words, it can flip their mindset in a completely positive direction.
I believe that's so true. I think I've seen in my parenting how I've stripped, and I can see this in friends and in coworkers too, in the mistakes I've made, how I've stripped them of confidence because of how I've said something or the way I've said it or the way I've dressed something versus fill them full of confidence,
Yeah.
right? Gosh, the mistakes in parenting are terrible when
They
you look
really
back
are.
and you go, wow, I really messed that one up. And I see it. We had a big one the other day. I looked back, Allie, and I was just like, oh, that was terrible.
But that's wisdom.
Right, yeah.
Part of it is acknowledging that,
Yep.
learning from that,
Yep.
and making sure that you do whatever it is that you need to learn from that.
Yep. Pursue better, get better.
Yeah.
But we got to do that with our clients too, right? We got to use the right tones and empathy with our clients.
And I guess that's my point, right? We have clients we like more than others. We have cohorts, associates, people we work with we like more than others, or we connect more with others, not like or dislike, but we connect more.
Yeah.
And so being aware of that, I think, is very, very important through and through with mindset.
Yep.
Well, we can go on and on, but we've run out of time.
We always do.
I do.
I'm
appreciate
surprised
you
we
being
did
here.
so well not going down too many rabbit holes. I think we did pretty well.
You did very good. You did very good. I commend you. How was my tone there?
It was great.
Good?
It was sincere. Sincere. That's that book right now. It's about sincere praise to people and sincere, giving people sincere compliments. It matters. People love sincere compliments.
If nothing else, I do think I'm naturally sincere, whether it's
no doubt.
whether it's positive or I'm sincerely being
being a jerk. No, I think you're very sincere. I think you're a great guy, and I appreciate you having me on the podcast. It's fun to be with you.
You too.
You're an inspirational leader. Like you provoke thought, and that's why you do well on this show. And I think in your business is you ask a lot of good questions. I want to be a better question asker like you.
And listening, right? It starts with listening.
Yeah.
But I also love people. I love the learning about people and recognizing that everybody is very unique and individual. And if I can absorb the type, the individualistic aspects of people, and well, to me, that's a big turn on. Like that's.
Well, then they'll relate to you and you'll relate to them. Right? And then you have a great relationship. And that's where trust is
Not
formed.
calculated.
No.
I think it's just part of who I am and how I'm wired. And
It's a different. Calculated is like you're doing it almost for a purpose, an outcome,
an agenda.
Yeah, an agenda,
Yeah, no,
right?
no,
And
no.
it's
There's
not.
none of that.
Yeah, it's
No, no, no,
not.
none of
but,
that.
But there's intentional too.
Yeah.
And intentional is not bad. To intentionally try to be kind or intentionally try to be thoughtful.
Right.
That's a great thing. I love somebody who's intentionally trying to be kind. And thoughtful.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to keep going on if you don't
Wait,
shut this
no, yeah,
down.
we won't. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment or review. Be sure to check us out on social media at Optimized Advisor Podcast. Till next time.